So, next one is Carlos Molinero. Carlos is senior researcher in urban science. He joined our faculty via the Austrian Institute of Technology from University College of London this March, so he is a newbie at the hub. The focus of his research lies on the analysis and understanding of urban systems from a complexity science perspective. He could understand the relation of voting patterns and street networks in the UK. Welcome on stage.
Hello. I'm here to try to talk a little bit about some of the issues that I see around the topic of cities. So, first we need to understand that cities are increasingly becoming the natural habitat for human beings. We're witnessing the rural-urban transition, and it is expected that soon most of humanity will live in cities. So we need to understand them because as part of our habitat, they are going to determine the landscape of opportunities and the availability of our resources. The cities are built upon an infrastructure that is organized as a fractal. This is an optimization strategy following nature to try to reach the largest amount of points in space using the minimum quantity of material. And this fractality arises from a process of self-organization. We plan our cities, at least we decide on the layout of the streets and the height of the buildings, but compared to the size of the city and compared to the time scale in which it lives, we are but tiny cells in a microorganism that has its own rules and behavior. And of course, it is not the physical infrastructure of the city what constitutes our true cities, the interactions that happen between all the activities of humankind. And all those activities are based on cities and interaction between the citizens, and they organize into hierarchies of networks, thus creating cascading effects and feed-forward effects. We must not forget also that our cities are embedded into nature, and we are responsible for the depletion of the resources. And therefore, we need to look further beyond the boundaries of our cities and understand where the energy and food is generated and how are we treating our outputs and resources. All this set of ideas makes that it is not that we are trying to understand cities from complexity science, is that we cannot understand them without accepting its inherent and complexity. But what do I see today? What do we really understand about cities and what is happening in the world? What I see is cities that are growing above the logical limit of growth and are creating depletion of resources like the drinking water in Bangalore or zero saturation effects. I see governments are incapable of reviewing that the economic climate had to affect the spatial planning. I see a touristification that is depleting our cities from its real meaning, and through transformation of residents into businesses through Airbnb, etc., is generating that the population is being displaced. I see a large amount of inequality that, combined with informal growth, is making that a large part of the population has no access to basic infrastructure. And what do I see today from another point of view? I see that we are living in a techno-fascination moment. We are amazed by the capabilities of the technology, and it's normal. It looks like we are living in a science fiction movie. By example, autonomous cars is something from the Jetsons in the 50s, but in reality, is it going to generate something good for us? Autonomous car, by example, is a very good example because I believe that it's going to have very negative effects on our cities. It's still private transport. It's going to allow us, or it's going to make more comfortable that we travel further away, which means that it's going to increase the sprawl, which means that it's going to put a stress into the infrastructure of our cities, which is going to cost millions of euros in investment, and it's going to have more effects like congestion, etc. And there are similar things like artificial intelligence, in which I believe that we have too much faith in it. They are basically classifiers, and they are black boxes, and we need to be careful about it. In the same way, we have the smart city and which is necessary because we need to collect data in order to understand better our cities. But when you combine this with the short-term goals of our politicians and with an industrial focus of the research, it means that almost all the funding money available is dedicated to these technologies. But what is happening in the actual successful cities? What do successful cities have in common? They have a social welfare system, and this is something that, even though it doesn't belong precisely to the topic of cities, we need to remember because it's continuously under attack. And this allows for the poorest layers of population not to be desperate. You can take your kid when he's sick to a hospital, you can study in the university, you can improve your living situation. They have a public transport infrastructure that in the same way it allows everybody in society to access the whole set of services that the city gives, the job market. And in some cases, although this has been under attack since Margaret Thatcher, so it's disappearing, they have a way to control the housing price. So basically, what successful cities have been doing is that they've been having mechanisms to reduce inequality. It doesn't have anything to do with technologies. Technologies might give us a small increase in effectivity, and they of course give us the data to understand. But we need a cultural change. We are responsible, the scientists, when we talk, when we Twitter, when we give an interview. The media is responsible because of inflating the importance of all of this, which is affecting where is the debate. It seems like there's only technology happening now, but we need a space, and the space means money, so it means funding opportunities, in order to be able to think about the things that really matter for cities. Otherwise, we will fail. Thank you very much.